Well, hello there, good morning, and welcome once again to That Makes Me Mad. We apologize for the late start, but the leader of the opposition, as promised, Mr. Philip J. Pierre, is live with us in studio. So, Mr. Pierre, good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
I'm very well, and how are you doing?
I'm fine. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
I hope you don't get too mad.
No. I'll leave that for the listeners who are going to be calling in.
You want them to get mad?
Yes. Okay. So, primarily we're here today to discuss this upcoming march taking place this coming Sunday, organized by your party. So, first, I want to ask you to tell us about the march and what inspired this march. Why are you actually having it?
Well, first of all, the march is to bring to the attention of the government that the St. Jude Hospital needs to be reopened. Here's a hospital that was started by the government, by the present government, in 2009. When we came into power, we continued work in the hospital. We continued because our primary goal was to ensure that the people of the South got proper medical attention. Mm-hmm. Because these people, that's the only hospital. That's the only way they have to get their health services. And they were in a stadium. And at its best, the stadium was not adequate. It's thanks to the nurses and the doctors that the stadium is operated. And I want very early to thank the nurses and the doctors and all the hospital staff. Although right now they have been severely hampered with the end of the NICE program, many of the hospital staff who worked in cleaning the patients, in cleaning the areas, these people have been sent home. So you find nurses have to be mopping the wards because the NICE workers were sent home. But in spite of that, I'm very, 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 very satisfied. And I want to really thank them. They are our heroes, the nurses and the doctors who work at St. Jude Hospital. And I salute them, and the party salutes them. Mm-hmm. But having said so, we believe that the hospital should be open. And the hospital is not a place for political games. The government has sent out many mixed messages in the hospital. A lot of untruths, a lot of propaganda, demolition, repurposing, all sorts of things that are not relevant to the issue. The issue is the United Workers' Party started the hospital, the Labour Party continued the hospital. Now it's the United Workers' Party's time to complete the hospital. And the argument goes, why didn't you all complete it? Mm-hmm. That's a famous argument. But I'll tell you what, we didn't complete it, but we were in the process of working all the time to complete it. We never stopped it. Now, if you have to look at the aggregate of time spent in the hospital, spent in the construction of the hospital, you will find that there is only 8 months difference, because it's between the time that the United Workers' Party had control over the construction and the Labour Party. Only 8 months difference. And that is a fact. But what I'm saying is that the United Workers' Party have been, from the beginning, they've showed bad faith as far as St. Jude is concerned. Number one, they stopped construction without any scientific or engineering proof that they could stop it. With all the good intentions, the Minister of Economic Affairs is not an engineer. He stopped the construction of the hospital. They stopped it. Now, you know, Andre, when you stop construction of anything, even a kitchen, you have to remobilize, you have to restart, etc. Now, they stopped it. They stopped it without any scientific information. All that information was contained in a handover report. And there are 2 handover reports, 2 of them. One in June, when the government took office, another one in August, that detailed all the issues at the hospital. All the issues were in that report. The government concealed that report until it was leaked. Up to this day, they have not said that the hospital has a report as to where we are. All the issues are raised in the report. I don't know whether you've read it, Andrew. All the issues, size, windows, no doors, air condition, all these issues are raised in the report. The government, if the government was acting in good faith, if the government didn't have some preconceived ideas as to what to do with St. Jude's Hospital, they would have read that report, they would have called the people involved, the engineer, the project manager. And you must note, Andre, that all these people were appointed by the United Workers' Party. We weren't the ones who brought in the engineer. We weren't the ones who brought in the project manager. They were the ones who appointed them. When we came into power, we inherited them. We kept them. And up to this day, the government has not found it right or suitable to speak to these people. They fired them. You speak to them, you ask them, listen to me, report to me on what you've done. That is the logical thing to do. I'm in government now. They have recognized they were in government because they wrote a report to them. A report is written to them. Come to me and tell me, where are you? Why is that too small? Why is that too large? Nothing. The minister on his own made his own pronouncements. To add insult to injury, the minister used the police force and in a commando-style raid, in the darkness of the night or earliest of the morning, went to people's houses, dramatic, with police guns. And I feel sorry for the police. Instead of being given the time to go and fight crime, to go and patrol the areas that they call hotspots, they had them going at people's residences, at people's homes, where the government knew that the stuff that was in there was there because there was an agreement to keep it stored there. That was in the report. That's number one. So, number one, bad faith. The government says there was no plan. Not true. The United Workers' Party started the hospital because they did not start the hospital with the intention of building a new facility. The intention was to repair what was there, to make it ready, and to build a new hospital on an alternative site. That was a plan by the UWP.
You approve of that, Mr. Pierre?
Yes, it's in the report. And if you look at the budget statements of the Honorable Prime Minister, Simpson King, who, by the way, has been criticized a lot by his own party on the hospital. If you look at his budget response in the budget, I think of 2010, 11, one of them, he says that the plan is to repair the hospital and build a new hospital on an alternative site. That plan, and to use the old St. Jude's as a place where they would have a medical school or a research center. Mm-hmm. That plan was changed by Mr. King in his wisdom. And he said, let us extend, and let us try to build a new facility on that same site. Mm-hmm. So here you go. You are repairing in one area, and then you are repairing in one area, and you are building at the same time. So, you have to break. They found there was asbestos. They had to dig that out. They found that the columns were, because the hospital was an old structure. So all the time, they added. And they spent over $30 million. The United Workers' Party spent over $30 million on that new hospital. So on that hospital, because when they built a new hospital, when we came into government, we never stopped it. We never fired the contractor. We never fired the consultant. We never fired the project manager. They were the ones who employed these people, Andre. We didn't fire them. We said, listen to me, let's continue working. So we worked. You must also note that there was no money for the new hospital. It's not like the Owen King Hospital where there's a lump sum of money that you go and you get. It was grants. It was donations from school children, donations from people donations from people who lived out of the country, donations from friendly governments. Now, what the St. Lucia Labour Party did, we were the ones who raised over $41 million for the new hospital by various means. Then we went to Taiwan and we got a loan of $20 million to complete the hospital. If we were in government, that hospital would have been completed. We went for a loan to complete the hospital. Up to now as we speak, the United Workers' Party has available to them $10 million plus another $7 or so million in grants that they can use in a new hospital. They have not used it, but they've stopped it. Now and then the talk goes about demolition, repurposing. Demolition, not demolition, half demolition, part demolition. That talk is going. But the point is, whilst they are talking, the people are suffering. in the facility. God helped us, we did not have a hurricane. If we had a hurricane, we'd have been in a complete disaster. Lives would have been lost. So we are demonstrating on Sunday to tell the people, listen to me, bring the government to the senses, stop the political football. If you want to attack politicians, if you want to attack Philip J. Pierre, do that in another forum. Do that, but do not use people's health. Don't use the hospital to attack, to try to prove a point, or to prove, or to get brownie points, to prove that somebody's wrong or somebody's right. The health of the nation is too important. I want to say one more thing. There's discussion that the hospital was never put in the estimates. That again is wrong information. The hospital was included in the estimates, and I have here what was in the estimates for the hospital in all the years. 2009 to 2010, $15 million. That's the United Workers Party. 2010-2011, $13 million, the United Workers Party. 2011-2012, $3 million, 3 point something. 12-14, $10 million. 13-14, $6 million. 13-14, $6 million. 14-15, $56 million. 15-16, $42 million. 16-17, $41 million. So the hospital has expenses were in the budget. Now, you know, budgets are expectations, what you expect. So in the budget it was said where we will get the loans and the grants, and if you look at it you will see that there was $40 million worth of grants and $54 million and $2 million worth of loans, which is the total amount that was spent in the hospital, as has been verified by the handover report. You see, all of us are speaking when the facts are available, but we're going according to gut feeling, according to how we feel, what we see, not the facts. And the facts, and this is why I cannot stop emphasizing that if the government had not dismissed the contract and the project manager, if they allowed them to explain what they'd done, because I can't explain it, although I can't explain it, the minister can't explain it, he doesn't know. He believes, no, he doesn't know, he's not an engineer. He only sees things. But he hasn't got the scientific knowledge to understand what's happening. If they had allowed, even though they wanted to have a commission of inquiry, bring the project manager, bring the engineer on the site, in front of a panel, and ask them the questions, then we would not have been here today. But it was innuendo, bad faith, accusations, all with the purpose of trying to make the Labour Party look bad. And that has been the modus operandi of the United Workers Party. They've forgotten they're in government and they concentrate all the time on making the Labour Party look bad. I'll make you cry. 90% of you are Labour Party supporters. Anytime that the Prime Minister opens his mouth, all the victimization, all the fact of moving civil servants, firing the cabinet secretary, all these things aimed at making the Labour Party look bad. And the government must repurpose itself and look to open St. Jude's Hospital so that the people of the South can get better health care.
Now, going back to the issue of, under your administration, finishing the St. Jude Hospital, you recall that the former Minister for Health, Alvin Reynolds, did give some dates as to when that hospital would have been open. How do you respond to that?
Because she was acting on the advice given to her by the experts. The minister is not an engineer. She never professed to be an engineer. Andre, if you build in a house, and there's something, let's look at ordinary construction. When you start to build a house, when you start to build a house, when you put in the foundation, if your house is in pillars, that goes very quickly. You cast your slab, that looks well. Then you put your blocks up. Then your house building, you're happy. My house has been built, I'm happy, my house is going up. You put the roof. Nice, that takes some time. When it comes to the finishing, when it comes to the windows and the casting and the plastering, then you say to yourself, the contractor tells you, boss, I'll finish that house next week. Then he comes to say, oh, that window is not good, change it. So the finishings, the minister was acting on information given to her by the experts. What should happen is the government should ask the experts, why did they give the minister that information? And that information is available in the handover report. That's what should happen. Not say to yourself, what does the minister know about construction? The minister pretends to be an economist. He pretends to be a political science. He pretends to be a sociologist, a pastor, an engineer, and everything. And that is a problem in his quest to play politics, to make the opposition look bad, to make them cry. He makes these statements without the facts. And the people of the country are not given the opportunity to look at the facts. Sure, Andre, if you had an opportunity to read that handover report, you would have, I didn't say you would have thought differently. At least you'd have had the other view. Your view, like most other people, is part of the room, the hospital not good. This, that, $180 million. That's not true. All that's not true. What is spent in the hospital is in the report. The minister had an audit. The audit never said to demolish the hospital. Never. Never. The audit, and up to now, they have not made it public. What the government must do is make the handover report public. Let the people read it. If they're not acting in bad faith, make it public.
Now, as regards the minister, you're referring to him, he's made it very clear that there are no plans to demolish St. Jude. So what is the problem? If he already says that there are no plans to demolish St. Jude,
that is the same,
why the need now to demonstrate?
That is the same minister who said he's been investigated on the Money Laundering and Terrorism Authority. I want to ask you, where does that exist? Have you ever heard, you're a man who's read, have you ever heard about the Money Laundering and Terrorism Authority? He said he's been investigated on that authority. But the minister spoke, the minister said so, but his Minister of Health said on September 15 that is going to be demolished.
No, she said it may.
Right, she said so, okay,
yeah.
Fine. But why must these thoughts, a man active according to his heart and his thoughts, why must that come into play? Where does the demolition come in? And not, Andrew, sorry. You also have the situation where you have the DSH. You have the equine disease-free zone. So you see why there is right to be suspicious when the government has to demolish the abattoir. So there is a basis for the suspicion, because the abattoir, which was given by grant funds by the Taiwanese, because of the DSH project and the equine disease-free zone, the abattoir will have to be demolished. You also understand the Bonsiju Agricultural Station, because of the DSH project, will have to be demolished. So the idea of demolition is not far-fetched, based on the government's own narrative. You understand?
But the narrative is that it will not be demolished. Okay. That's the narrative.
Well, we want to re-emphasize that.
In fact, he went up to say, he said, not under my watch. I'm quoting him.
Right. We want to re-emphasize that. That is not going to be demolished, but we also want to make them understand that the people are adamant by the demonstration that to ensure that it's not demolished and to ensure that they reopen it. That's what's important. Or it's used for the purpose that it was built for, which is the hospital.
So how would the march help, right, in that goal that you have? How does the march help?
It will help in that the same way marches all over the world. Egypt, marches change the world. Libya, marches change the world. In Zimbabwe, just last week, marches changed the world. The people must show the government by their numbers that they are opposed to even what they're thinking about St. Jude's.
So I gather from you, Mr. Leader of the Opposition, that you don't really trust the words of the minister. What it is?
I have no reason, based on what I have seen, I have no reason to have any faith in the words of some of the ministers. I have no reason. Not when the minister says, my role is to make you cry. Not when 1,000 step workers, night workers are sent home, and the argument is they were Labour Party supporters. Not when a motion in Parliament is stopped after it was done through all the stages. Not when there is no appointment of deputy speaker, when history shows that the deputy speaker comes from the government all the time. Not when in my constituency I can't clean a drain because the government has starved me of resources. I have no reason. When a CP program money has been made available up to this day, the government hasn't said to the opposition, what are we getting up to this issue? So I have no reason to trust.
So what is the Prime Minister saying on this issue?
The Prime Minister is led this issue by his Minister of Economic Affairs. The Prime Minister is led, when he's in St. Lucia, he's led on this issue by the Minister of External Affairs, who is now the acting Prime Minister.
So as far as we know, he has not really made any public pronouncement.
As far as I know, he hasn't made any definitive statement, And that's what's and take steps to reconstruct, to continue construction. It's okay in saying that you're not going to build it, but not going to demolish it, but take steps, but you do nothing. It continues to deteriorate. It continues to deteriorate because it's a work in progress that you do nothing about. And we are saying, when we demonstrate on Sunday, we are saying to them that the people of St. Lucia do not want politics to be played any longer with the St. Jude's Hospital. The people of St. Lucia want the hospital to be, the construction to continue, and there is at least $37 million available to do that.
Now, you know, I want to take some calls. So I think it's very important that we do that this morning. But just before we do that, some issues. The MP for Labrie, Mr. Baptiste, makes a rather interesting statement as regard the the whole issue of demolishing St. Jude and so on. He used some words. He said about burning St. Jude. What do you mean by that?
He said
burning. Yeah.
You see, the member for Labrie is his flair is the use of the language. You understand? He's very, that is one of his many strengths, the use of language. So the language that he uses, you'll have to ask him to explain to you. What I know is the Minister of External Affairs, the former Minister of External Affairs, is in unison with the party in that there must be no demolition of St. Jude. Okay.
He also mentioned the laptop program being destroyed. Can you clarify that for us, please?
Yes. Very easy. Andre, everything has teething problems. When HTS started, it had teething problems. Anything you do, that's a teething problem. You buy a new phone, teething problems. The laptop program, the mission was to make every secondary school child, to extend to every child, computer literate by giving them access to a laptop. That was the mission, that was the objective. Of course there were teething problems. What the government did is they stopped it. And instead they gave 8 laptops to Tapion, free this way, for this way, this way.
So what is the thinking behind that?
You must ask them. Because you have to, again, just to stop what we started. You see, that's the problem. The objective of the United Workers' Party is to make the opposition look bad, to pretend to bury the legacy of the opposition. You had a minister all the time. You hear him in the house all the time. If he doesn't say 2 words, and he talks about the member for Cassius South, you Cassius East. Where's your legacy? That's all they're interested in. They're not interested in running the country, and that's their biggest problem. Run your country. You have a mandate to run the country. Run it. Leave. Even the surrogates, the opposition. The question is, the opposition is not giving the government a chance. What's the meaning of giving the government a chance? 37,000 people voted for us. We have to represent them. They have concerns. They tell us their concerns. We have to share their concerns. And the people of St. Lucia have concerns, and the opposition will always raise these concerns, but the opposition means well and wants well and good for the people of St. Lucia.
Now, going back to the laptops, weren't these laptops being given to the governor of St. Lucia?
Some of them were, yes. The Taiwanese gave them, the Venezuelans gave them, yes.
Right. So why would we stop a program if we're getting those laptops? I mean, we're not paying for them.
Because the government's priorities is the same government that gave Ojo Labs $4 million to build the factory and paying their workers. It's a matter of priorities. The laptops are not the government's priority. Very simple. Because the governments have priorities.
So as far as we know, right now, the laptop program has been discontinued.
For now, as far as I know. Okay. See, I'll tell you something, Andrew. In our system, and it's something that under my leadership of the Labour Party will change. There is no handover. The rationale for doing things is not, we never ask. I'll give you something. The airport. We have an arrangement with the IFC, a body of the World Bank, to build and finance and lease a new airport for a public-private partnership. That's the arrangement. Sanctioned by the World Bank, agreed to by the World Bank, and we reached a stage where we had 3 of the world's best airport operators. Not ordinary people, you know. the world's best, most experienced airport operators to build the airport. The government squashed it. I was intimately involved in that process. No one has called me. In fact, the person involved at SLASPA his contract was not renewed. So there is no continuity. Now, the question is, why did the government, knowing very well all the issues relating to the last airport construction, all the issues, now you tell me it's fake news, and all these issues, I'll tell you something, with all these issues, and that is why we in government did not touch the airport as it was conceived by them. And I want to also make it very clear to you that there was never any money to build the airport. That is a lie. That's a lie. There was never any money to build the airport. The bank, the douche bank, did not accept the financing proposal from the government of St. Lucia through SASPA to build the airport because they had due diligence problems with one of the people who were involved. You understand? So there was no money to build it. That is not true. And there's evidence available to show that there was no money for the airport. But the government has squashed it. And you go back and you borrow. Now I'll tell you something. They will use the argument that the airport has a revenue stream. When the bank turned down the proposal, there was airport development tax, you know. It was there already. The revenue stream was available, but the bank turned it down. So how you find yourself? You just unilaterally agree to dismiss the IFC, and you do it yourself. So you borrow money to build it. Now, what can the public think? What must the Labour Party think? Isn't there a reason why you doing that? There must be a reason. What's the reason? You talk about your debts. You talk about you haven't got any fiscal space, but you still want to borrow $150 million to build an airport when you know, documented, that there was already finance for that airport. What must we say? Just lie down and let it go?
And talking about quashing programs initiated by your administration, let's talk about the NICE program. Has the NICE program also been, well, destroyed?
As far as I know...
I'm just quoting the MP for Library again.
As far as I know, part of the NICE program has remained in terms of the elderly care. But I'll tell you what, but most of the workers are sent home. Most of the trained workers, most of the people, and just think of that. Let's just think of that. The government did not expand it, you know, to say they brought in what they call their people and left the people who were experienced to train to work. Because when you begin to take care of the elderly, you get an affinity to them. They become part of your family. The elderly people were looking for Jane and Mary, Mawel, Mubavini. These people became part of the family. When you just cut them off and you bring new people, what happens? I'm not saying that the government should not do what they did, but they stuck to the policy of 90% and make them cry, because most of the people who were employed in the NICE program, they were sent home and new people were employed. But our objective is for the elderly people to get care. So the government has continued that. The playing field program, you must have heard a whole story about the playing field. The government just stopped it. And there was a process. If you know whether you are one of the biggest critics of the St. Lucia Labour Party government, you must agree that the playing fields were in good shape. Even though give jackets. The playing fields were in a pristine state. The government, in their policy of squashing all what the Labour Party did, they stopped the playing field project. Now, look at the Marshall Grounds. The Marshall Grounds, we resurfaced it, we put in toilet facilities, we put in lights, we were left to repair the stands. That's what we were left to do. And I must tell you that the people must treat these facilities better. I'm going to tell you that the people who use it must treat it better. Like the toilets have been destroyed, so I'm not saying that, I'm not supporting that. But the point is, we were in the process of doing the stands. If you go to the Marshall grounds now, I got a letter telling the guy telling me to help them to fix the ground. They just abandoned it. And to restart it, playing fields, you have to take off all the dead grass. They have to be maintained. So when you stop that maintenance, you're not doing the Labour Party anything, you know. You're doing the people who are using the facility. So look at the playing fields. And the playing fields are done on the nice program. Why did they just stop it? Why? You know why? Because they believe that the people who who cut the playing fields were Labour Party supporters. So you must make them cry. So you must stop it so they can't get a job, because they must cry, and then you will allow the playing fields to get in a state of...
But Mr. Pierre, wouldn't you agree that people will say, well, this is just the way it is, that's politics, that's just the way it is?
If we won't say that, when will we change? Our government under my leadership will change. We will not ostracize 40% of the people for petty political purposes. We will not. We cannot.
Okay.
And we should not.
I really want to take some calls, but I just want to ask you, before we take the calls, your take on this planned dolphinarium.
Again, we must go in the government's history. That's a government who removed the subvention from National Trust. I tell you something, Andrew. It wasn't us who gave the National Trust a subvention, you know. That was John Compton, Sir John Compton. He was the one, you know. And at that time, Julian Hunt was chairman of the trust. And Julian Hunt was his political rival. And Julian was chairman. Julian said to the Prime Minister, the trust needs some help. He said, go ahead. I'm not giving you help. I'm giving the trust help. John Compton. The United West Party cut it off. Cut it off. And they cut it off. Why? There's been no reason that's been given. The Prime Minister asked to give a plan. He gave a plan. The National Trust, they are defenders of our patrimony. We have cross-threads with the National Trust when we were in government. When the ill-fated pride development was happening, the National Trust were adamant about the existence of a bird there. So we've cross-threads with them. The National Trust, that's what they do. Their job is to protect the environment. That's what they do. But the government has just cut it off. The Derek Walcott House. Here's a Prime Minister who makes a mistake when Derek Walcott became the prize for literature. It says 91, but it's actually 92. That's it. Now, forget it. We all make mistakes. There's a house that is built in its commemoration. The house is closed, and right now people are still in it because you've cut the subvention for National Trust, and you pretend to want to honor Derek Walcott. But that is the mindset of the government. Vindictiveness, making you pay anything that's done by Labour. You must cut it.
And you're saying under Labour government you will not behave that way?
We have
under your leadership.
When we came to the government, we found the Millennium Highway being built. We continued. When the government introduced the constituency development program, Mr. Stevenson King on the pushing of Robert Lewis, we continued. The government started work in St. Jude. We continued. There's several examples where when we continued. The government started the building by the fisheries complex. We continued. When you came to the government, that building hadn't started. I don't know if you recall that. We're the ones who had the opening ceremony. We continued. It's not our style. And the evidence is there. But this government stops it. And they go along and they attack you with falsehoods. They and the surrogates. They never attack you with facts. You understand? Of course, our party made mistakes. We are not perfect. But the projects that we started that were good, continue.
And talking about that, under a Labour Party administration, if you win the next election, would you reinstate, like for example, a laptop program, the NICE program? Would you reinstate those programs?
Okay. Our objective, as far as the laptop is concerned, is to take St. Lucia into the technological age. We have to create meaningful careers, not only jobs. You see, the idea of jobs is perfect, but we want to have careers. People must be able to have a career. You can get a career in the IT industry. We believe that at a very early age, children should be exposed to the IT, to computers, to technology, and there they will create their own employment. There are people working in my constituency, living in my constituency, who stay at their home and they work in the States. They do where they prepare websites and for the States. That's available. So the laptop program is just the beginning of taking solution to the next level, reforming our education process to get people ready for the world of work, get people ready to create careers, and that is what the laptop project will do. The NICE project was always a temporary project. Here's the argument. Here's the argument of stopping the NICE project. Or you gave people a job and then you have to renew it every year, and it was a temporary job. The NICE project was conceived because of the high level of unemployment at the time. The thinking was, as soon as the private sector had begun to expand, because there were signs of improvement in the economy, and again, things we say that are not factual. I had a minister of economic affairs making a point that, oh, he had to build from nothing. Which economist will tell you that you have to build an economy from nothing in 1 year? This is absolute foolishness. This is not economic thinking. This is Bush doctors thinking. How you can get an economy that was rock bottom and build it in a year? You don't. There must be a foundation. Having said so, he has in his possession a document that he inspired from the Caribbean Development Bank that says that from the year 2015 the economy was showing signs of improvement, but there was need to have more fiscal stability and improve the fiscal position. He has it in his possession, a document which was prepared for him, but he goes on television and says he had to build from rock bottom. What are you talking about?
Mr. Pierre, I have so many questions here for you, but we have to take some calls, so let's get into our phone lines at this time. The number is 451-7260. I have live in studio the Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Good morning, caller.
Good morning to you, Andre. Good morning to you, Mr. Pierre.
Morning.
Good morning.
I'm hearing the notion of, I'm hearing persons saying that the government did not have plans to demolish St. Jude. But at the end of the day, Andre, and listeners, the discussion started with one minister, that's the Minister of Health. If the government had no plans to demolish St. Jude, why did the minister came out and made that statement? Because that was the plan, obvious, to demolish St. Jude. It's because when they start getting, is that when people start making comments and start meaning the frustration in terms of not demolishing St. Jude, then they try to twist the word demolition. But at the end of the day, that was their intention, to always demolish St. Jude. So we cannot run away from that fact that this government, their plan is to demolish it. Because of the fact, Andre, why they stopped work, why they have not continued the program and St. Jude Hospital, the construction at St. Jude. Why? It's because of what reason? It's because of what reason? It's just the plan to demolish St. Jude. Okay,
caller, I'm sorry to disturb you, but you're breaking up. So sorry about that. You can try calling back. Let's take another call. Good morning.
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Andrew.
Say good morning to our guest there today, the Leader of the Opposition.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Philip J. But to be honest...
Good morning, sir.
Yes, to be honest, I'm very much perturbed with Philip J. Because it's like you... Until when you build a house, you must have a plan, right? Now, if everybody wants to do what they want in building a house, the house will not go forward. You know, the house will not go according to plan. I believe that the Labour Party have to understand that they have been voted out by the people of St. Lucia. The same solution people are given the 16-1 majority, they voted.
Okay, we lost that caller. 451-7260. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Andre. Morning, Mr. Pierre.
Morning.
Andre, when Mr. Guy Joseph commissioned the audit at St. Jude, when he received the report, first thing he said, that he got the report, and what the report recommended is either demolish or build a new hospital. And he said he was handing it over to the Attorney General for what advice and things like that. That was the first thing he said. And Andre, I can remember
when the hospital had burned in 2010 or what year, I can't remember. Mr. Johnny Labon was the press secretary to the Prime Minister, and he said, within 1 year, we will build a hospital. That's what his was, you know. And he said within 1 year, and everybody keep on asking him, how long again? And he said, a year after. And because when you ask Mr. Pierre, Mr. Reynolds gives this. But the last government always, the other government, that present government gives this also. You know? And Andre, it's something again. And whoever made that statement about fire at St. Jude, about the laptop demolished and step demolished, it was Mr. The MP for Vifortnov that said so. It was not Mr. Alva Baptiste. Sorry. Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Our number is 451-7260. We have live in studio the leader of the opposition, Honorable Philip J. Pierre. Good morning.
Blessed love, Andrew.
Blessed love.
Andrew, the people of St. Lucia, whether it's Labour or Flabo, is being taken for a ride. Number one, these people, the politician there, Mr. Pierre or whoever, are going to match for the hospital. We have hospitals here in St. Lucia that they don't use. When something happens to them, they fly overseas and get treatment, or they go Tapillon. What they're doing there, Andre, is to cover up their shame. Okay? You ask him a question, and Andre, no way you will build a house and give contractors their money, and then they tell you they're giving you your house in 3 months, and then 3 months come, they don't give it to you. Okay. But then you will know maybe 2 months after they will give it to you. I listen to untold stories where you are in the bullock of what that happened, Andre, where they had people getting paid $50,000, $49,000 plus is $50,000 already, to do a work that wasn't even on site, Andre. They had people...
That is stealing, caller. That's stealing. Arrest the people. That's stealing.
I agree with that.
You are speculating. If people were paid money and they did not do the work, regardless of whether they were Labour, UWP, if it's Philip J. Pierre, if it's Alva Baptiste, arrest them. So what again, that's the point you're making, caller. You must speak with information. You are speaking, caller, from what you hear, my brother.
Listen.
But you must listen also, because you are speaking from your not what you hear. Okay?
But listen now, you talking there, if you say something and people repeat it, is it speculating?
Is what?
If you, on the program there with Andre Paul, say something and people repeat it, is it speculating?
No.
All right, now I heard something, I'm talking.
You can say that, and you can go and prove what I said, if it's true or false.
Right.
What you do, caller, you listen to what I say, and you prove it. You don't see, you listen to me. You said X and Y. I stated my source.
No,
I said my source was a handover report that was given to the government. They have to tell me what you said was a lie.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, sir.
You are the same one that came on a program and said immediately, don't mean immediately. But you say Guy Joseph doesn't...
Caller, I never said so. Again, you are misquoting me, and you must stop misquoting me. I was asked about the $100 million to be put in the economy immediately. Do you believe, caller, do you believe, even though you're not an economist and you are against the Labour Party, do you think $100 million can put in the economy right away?
I know that's
exactly so what you say. So you just caller, listen to me. Let us forget the politics and let us deal with St. Jude Hospital and getting the people to work. Okay, my brother?
On both sides of the fence.
There's no both sides of the fence. One side of the fence is we continue to work in the hospital.
But if the hospital right now they have problems, why should you continue with problems?
Caller, the problems, and that is what I'm saying. The problems that have been identified by people, all these problems have been identified in the handover report, and there were reasons why there were problems and how they could be rectified. Let me give you an example, my good friend. Let me get an example. They said that the hospital had no international, it wasn't given any, it could not be used as a hospital because there was no accreditation to the hospital. The report tells you that the same body that made that audits the Tapio Hospital, who inspected the St. Jude's Hospital, and they gave the steps that had to be put in place to give the hospital international recognition.
Now, let me
they
ask
told
you a
you
question.
there was no plan for the hospital.
Let me ask you a
Yes,
question.
sir,
How
yes,
long ago was Tapio built?
Again, caller, Tapio again. I'm glad you asked me this question because I hope I can enlighten you. Tapio was built when it was built as a hotel.
I know, but how long ago was it commissioned?
No,
as a
caller, you
hospital?
have to do an audit every year, my brother. Every year, somebody has to come and tell you whether you're doing things right. It's not done on one occasion.
I'm sorry,
my
Blessed
brother.
Love. We're trying to take as many calls as possible, but thank you very much for your contribution, okay? We have another call coming through, 451-7260. Good morning.
Good morning, Andre. Good morning, Mr. Pierre. Profound blessings to you.
Morning.
Morning. Profound blessings and guidance to Mr. Philip J. Pierre. God's blessings to you. Mr. Pierre, has the report or some report was tabled? Was it tabled in the House of Assembly by Mr. Guy
It
Joseph?
has
Was it
not
done?
been. Neither.
he
Remember
did
the
say that.
handover report has been concealed.
Yes, it's over a year now, almost $1 million.
Exactly. None of them have been. And then you see, it's the point I'm making, caller, is whilst you're doing all that, the people are suffering.
Yes.
That's
That has
the
not
point,
been
you know.
done.
That's the point I'm making. The
Yes.
people are suffering.
The other one I want to ask, when did they find the 680 that the government, that they said that the Labour Party was hidden? That was it done? Did they find any 680? Did they give any report about the gas? Well, the 680, has that been done? Because I remember that's what we had, is it yellow, orange, or white match? There was a white or orange, I can't remember what color it was. There was an orange, green, or red, or white match by Mr. Allen. He was the leader of the opposition, the leader of the party. And there was a match, and they said that the government of the Labour Party hid $6.80. Mr. Peter King came out and said no. Everestus Jamari said there was nothing. The Labour Party came out. Mr. Inch, Raphael St. Hill, came out and said there was nothing. There was a member of the government at the time in the office, CSA, whatever, came out and said there was nothing. But the Mr. Alan Shastney and his team did match. Did they find the 680?
Yeah, caller, it's up to. In fact, the Prime Minister also said that the calculations were not transparent.
Okay.
And in every calculation, he hasn't changed not one sentence.
But
not
there
one
was a
line,
match.
sorry, in
In
the
spite of
calculation.
the experts explaining there was nothing like that, there still was a match. Mr. Pierre, Sunday match will be, you see, they're afraid of that match on Sunday, and I know that the people of St. Lucia, Beaufort, and around the country, and even people from overseas will come to St. Lucia and match. God bless you, and long live the St. Lucia Labour Party. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Apart from the march coming up on Sunday, you have a meeting this evening, right?
This evening, we're on a market this evening, and the purpose of that meeting is to reaffirm to people why they should come to march, why they must march, and why they must come out in their large numbers. And we're inviting everybody, you know. This is more, the march is a march that is instituted and created by the Labour Party, but it's a march for people who want better health care. You understand me? I tell you something, Andrew. If you collapse now, they don't wonder if you are what you are, you know. Is a sick person that needs to get medical attention. That's all it is.
Let's take some quick calls before we end. Okay, we lost that call. Also, you're supposed to be participating in a crime symposium tomorrow. You're going to be part of that?
That's happening tomorrow.
I heard the minister, Mr. Francis, saying that you're the one who actually
the
came up with the suggestion.
we have a pretty good relationship. He and I, we know each other pretty well. And then we did have that discussion. And the minister has a serious challenge in his hands with the most amount of murders ever in the history of St. Lucia. He has a serious challenge. Our position is that crime must never be political, never. And this is why we condemn the Prime Minister, when he's leader of the opposition, for making the point that he, by himself, he would make St. Lucia safe, because Kenny Anthony could not make St. Lucia safe. We condemned him, and we continue to condemn him. And the Prime Minister should retract that statement and say that he made a mistake. He should not have said so. But, so we believe crime should never be political.
Let's take a final call. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
I got into the show very late, and I'm hearing different callers, different opinions. The bottom line at the end of the day is we are in a health crisis in St. Lucia. Yes, people can afford to go to Tapio. God forbid they can go to Tapio. But if the political leader of the opposition is on there crying out for the people that go out and vote, and get that, almost 36,000 voters, right? I think, right, Mr. Political Leader? You can correct me if I'm wrong.
36.
And he is there talking on behalf of those of them that cannot afford to go to Tapillon. We don't have a hospital. If we're in Vieux-Fort and you have an accident, your first call of point is St. Jude, you know, even though you can afford to go to Tapillon. But when you get to St. Jude and you make your decision to go to Tapillon, you can go to Tapillon. At the end of the day, we are in a health crisis in St. Lucia. And the back and forth of who did what and who did not do what, to me makes no sense. That's irrelevant. As far as when I listened and I understood, and I heard what Dr. Anthony said at one point, the money was then allocated. When we go out asking for grant and funding, money is just not given to you. It is put into a fund and it is used according to when you're ready to use it. Correct me if I'm wrong again. You understand? So this hale-case and back and forth on who's in charge and who's not in charge. But damn it, we don't have hospitals.
Exactly, Caller.
We don't have hospitals.
We need to finish a hospital to put the people in so they can get health care.
Exactly.
And that's the point I'm making from since last night. The issue is, if anybody did wrong, take action against them, but give us a hospital.
Exactly, because you took 1 year and how many months to conduct an evaluation of $1 million. I live in the South. We speak to people. We speak to doctors. We speak to nurses. We hear what. Up to yesterday, I heard a customs officer saying there are containers there with stuff accumulating rent. You know, with equipment.
So we are supposed to. It's $31 million worth of equipment.
So we're supposed to suffer in this country just because we come to play political football with the rest of the day. I heard the Prime Minister on a platform say, open a hospital now. For God's sake, it's almost a year you have not opened a hospital. You understand? What are we going to do? Kill one another? You know, this is exactly what is happening. When somebody has an accident, when people get a disease, we can hardly get cure. Victoria, people are dying by numbers. Everywhere, people are dying by numbers. A record room was burnt up in Suffolk, and I heard the parliamentary rep said, okay, we'll be getting a hospital in 2022. Come on, we can't even open one that is already there. We have equipment on the ground. Why are we fooling the people? Why are we playing football with this thing? Solutions, we need to do something. Sunday is coming. We need to do what we have to do. Alan Shah say match for gas. We're matching for health. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And you see, caller, just to re-emphasize what the caller is saying, we are saying, if you found wrongdoing, take the people to justice. Take them to justice and give the people the hospital, because we will continue to work in the hospital and you have $37 million available. The caller is right. There is equipment here. There are deposits made with reputable companies in the United States for equipment for the hospital. That's there. Plus the fact you have $47 million. Mm-hmm. So if you are well intentioned, continue it and take the people who are responsible to justice.
How do you feel that the project now, I'm talking about St. Jude, is actually on hold? Is the march expected to push the government to start,
What we hope is that good sense will prevail. Although the government is adamant, the government is vindictive, the government does whatever they think they want to do.
And adamant on what?
On things that they want to do. They're adamant. And what will happen between today and tomorrow, you might hear some veiled threats going out. And mark my words, you may hear some veiled threats going out.
As regards the march?
As regards the march, right? As regards the people, you might hear some propaganda. You might hear something is happening just to you, and that is the modus operandi of the government. You will hear something, you will hear some threat, you will hear somebody did something, you'll hear some press release from some communications person just to dampen the effects of the march. But the people of St. Lucia, I'm sure, understands the issues, which are very simple. If there is any wrongdoing in the hospital, bring the people who perform the wrongdoing, bring them to justice if there's any wrongdoing. But in the meantime, you have $37 million available to you. You have equipment which is paid for and is in the country. You have deposits on equipment to furnish the hospital, complete the hospital, and then do everything you want afterwards. But get the people out of the stadium and at least alleviate the health crisis that exists in the south of the country.
So just to be sure that we understand the purpose of the march, you're saying whether the government has promised not to demolish, I mean, at the end of the day, your party, you want the government to understand that, listen, we will not tolerate you demolishing or adding. In other words, let's just reopen this facility and let's get going.
Let's get going, and what you have to do after. Because I have nothing to fear, nothing to hide, nothing. So it's clear. I mean, they've done all kinds of things. They've done all kinds of things. So we have nothing to hide. We're saying the fact is the people of St. Lucia, particularly people in the south, are suffering because they have no hospital. If there is an emergency, you understand, and the argument that they use, and this is again the flashing mirrors argument, oh, you can afford to go to Tapillon. That's not the question. The question is, there are people in the south of the country who, even though they want to go to Tapillon, it's too far. They got to do the emergency thing in Vivon.
And your party will accept nothing less than the completion of the project in the same location as is, right?
Completion of the project and then removing the people out of St. Jude's in the state.
And anything else
is not acceptable to our party.
Okay.
Because we think that people in healthcare need urgent attention because of the situation.
But Mr. Pierre, what if there's a good reason, say for the government, maybe some advisors say to them, listen, it's better not to continue that structure where it is. It's best to put it some other place. If the experts say
show it to us. Because the evidence that we have doesn't say that. Show it to us. The evidence. You see, we want it to be evidence-based. What's happening is speculation. Some of the callers who call emotion, party politics, all your politicians, not what I say. Anything I say on the St. Jude, tell me, Philip J. Pierre, you wrong, you lie. The hospital wasn't started by the United Workers' Party. The government, the Labour Party, did not continue it. The United Workers' Party did not spend $40 million. The consultant and the project manager were not appointed by UDP. Tell me that. Don't give me the emotion about Tapillon and politicians and you said about immediate. That is not the fact. That's for the political scenario. The fact is, you have a hospital that, according to the report, you spend $90 million on it. Both reports say that. Spent, contracted out, spent. We're saying you have $47 more million there. We're also saying that you have $47 more million there. You also have equipment that's on the ground. You have deposits on equipment abroad. You have the flooring there. You have everything. Use it and complete the hospital. That's all we say. And everything else you want to do it, because you can do whatever you want. Commission of inquiry, forensic audit, whatever you want. But do not allow the people of the country to suffer. The people of the South to suffer whilst you're trying to score political points. So when you're trying to make politicians pay. Oh, I see my friend Russell Herman. He likes to tell people I was his teacher.
No, my first killing at St. Mary's College, you gave me that green slip.
See, I was a prefect chief.
but Mr. Pierre, the march will take place in Viewfort, correct?
Starting from the Larry Swiss playing field.
And what time are we looking at?
We want to assemble at 2 so that we can begin marching soon after.
2 o'clock this coming Sunday.
Yes. Sunday.
Yes. Okay. Any final words, to your supporters, etc., etc. You have a meeting tonight, and then you also have the march on Sunday.
And Andrew, whereas we want our supporters to come, we expect our supporters to come. We want the people of St. Lucia to participate. It's a people's thing. We need to take the politics out of it, out of that match, because it's a match for health. The South is screaming. The stadium is inadequate. If, God forbid, there's a freaky storm like the Christmas Eve storm that happened after the hurricane season, we're in trouble. As I said before, it's the nurses and the doctors who are keeping this thing going. We are saying, forget either the Labour Party. Forget what you have against Philip J. Pierre. Forget you want to make Philip J. Pierre cry. Forget that. Think about the people in the South who need urgent health care. People in the South who are in crisis. Forget about all Indian, about you can go to Tapillon. Forget all these things. The relevant thing is the people in the South need to get their hospital. And there's $47 million available now to people to build a hospital. Use it. And let us get this thing going and do all your politics after. You in government. You have all the information. You have the press. You have the police. You have everything. Do what you have to do. But let the people continue to get health care.
Thank you very much, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Philip J. Pierre, for being our guest today.